Hello everyone, and welcome back to Banjo Tooie on the Nintendo 64. I am one wild sheep yet again, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue with our exploration of Grunty's Industries. Oh, joy. And we are going to start slowly progressing through the stage. Now, one thing that loads of people will notice when they play through Grunty's Industries is, by and large, you won't actually notice much progress getting done up until basically the last half hour of playing the levels. So basically, you're going to be going through and exploring the basic levels all the way up until you unlock all the areas. And once you've unlocked everything, you'll find that everything will start falling into pieces. You know, all the pieces will come together and you'll realize, oh, I've almost done. This is one of those really weird levels where, it takes a lot of time to get anything done, but when you do get things done, everything gets done in an extremely quick succession, you know, ladies and gentlemen, so, I digress. Anyway, move on to over here with Banjo, and be sure to pick up the battery I picked up a few minutes ago, because, well, we do need to open up the electromagnetic chamber here, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a quest area that, if this is the right area I'm thinking of, then we'll actually need to come back here a couple of times later down the line in order to be able to progress, because, simply put, there's a giant switch over there. That giant switch, unfortunately, requires a hell of a lot of weight to push down, and us being standard Banjo and standard Kazooie, we don't weigh nearly that much, you know, ladies and gentlemen, and, basically, there's a giant magnet to the left of the screen, and the transformation of this world will it's basically metal. So, we want to actually be able to clear out this room until a bit later on. But you still want to open it up as Banjo right now, just to save time and save effort, you know, folks. And this here's the elevator shaft. You never, ever have to actually go in the elevator shaft during your course of the playthrough, ever. You can explore in there, because I do believe that if you go to the top of the elevator shaft, they have there's like a sign up there somewhere, and it gives you advice or something. I can't actually remember what's on the sign, but I do know there's a sign up the top of the elevator shaft, you know, ladies and gentlemen, so you can explore it if you want. I just didn't really feel the need to. That's basically that's basically what I'm getting at here, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe it gives you a cheat code or something, I don't know, because I know outside of the Cheeto cheats you can pick up, you can get more traditional cheat codes, like, you know, infinite health, and what have you. And they're done by, they're not told to you by the game at all, and you can just type them in whenever you feel like. I don't know any of the cheat codes. I think one of them's Honey King, maybe? I don't know, I've never actually tried them out, so... But I do know there are cheat codes you can enter that are basically your more traditional and power-up cheats. Because the cheats you get given from Cheeto, I never really consider them cheats in the traditional sense, you know, I always consider them to be cheats in name only, because Cheeto cheats, well, they're basically power-ups that you unlock. You get the things and then you unlock them, you know, so... I've never been against people using them, and I know some people will be against using those powers just because they're labeled as cheats, even though they're not really cheats, they're just power-ups. Well, I say that. One of them is possibly considered a cheat because it's quite a broken one, but I'll talk about that when we get to it. What can I tell you? In fact, I'll be showing that off way later in the game, and it makes the final boss pathetic. I was channeling my inner Mike Tyson then. It makes the final boss pathetic. Oi. But anyway, this part by here, this floor of Grunty's Industries is basically the storage facility of Grunty's Industries, and it's a bit of a nightmare to explore. It's very easy to get turned around and lose track of where you're going and what have you, so, you know, when you work out where you're meant to be going, it's easy peasy, but, you know, your first time playing through, you may get yourself lost, you may get confused as to where everything is. And trust me, it is extremely easy to miss out on collectibles that are hidden about in this room, you know, ladies and gentlemen, because, a lot of the collectibles are hidden off camera, you know, around the corner of a lot of these boxes, and they can be very, very easy to miss, you know, folks. But, You know, it's fairly easy to actually navigate just because you can use the banjo double jump technique thing as well, which helps. Even though the game doesn't want you to use this, you know, you can do it and it makes getting around a slight bit easier. Of course, also using Kazooie is just flat out easy as well, because Kazooie does that as a ridiculously over-the-top high jump, but I digress. Anyway, we want to grab the battery from earlier on and head it into the boiler plant over yonder, because, well, it's time, ladies and gentlemen, to get on with another minigame. Well, as soon as we actually get Kazooie up here, that is. And, this minigame is actually... It's not really special in how it's played, but, there's a couple of interesting things that I want to talk about that, I don't know, they impress me somewhat, you know, ladies and gentlemen. Like, the lighting effects in general are amazing and what have you, but, again, I'll talk about that when we get into it. It's just because Kazooie up here, and, one thing that's a little bit weird about Kazooie's high jump is you can't really use any other Kazooie's moves until she finishes her backflip animation, so it can be a little bit tricky in order to get from point to point with it, but if you're good at the timing, you'll be able to utilize it just fine, you know, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a little quirk I've noticed with the high jump. Sometimes it just doesn't work the way you want whenever you want to glide across something or what have you. But, I don't know. Take that, fiend! For my name is Banjo and Kazooie! That was a weird voice. But anyway, popping on into here, it's the packing room, and basically, we have a packing minigame. Same rules apply. Red is 1, green is 2, blue is 3 points, and what is impressive about this minigame is the fact that you can actually see the lighting engine of this game go to work. All of the colors blend into each other seamlessly, and it looks magnificent, especially for an N64 title. But right from the get-go, you are going to want to pick up the speed shoes, because otherwise you probably will have some trouble. And as you can clearly tell, we are moving slower and slower with the more of these twinklies that we pick up. And that's kind of an interesting aspect about this one, because you can't just flat out collect all the twinklies and then at the last seconds chuck them in. You have to sort of maneuver around the field, collect as many twinklies as possible until you start running slowly, then chuck all of the twinklies into this room packing facility coordinated light place thing. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know, it's a neat idea, just the fact that you can't just pick up everything and have them go to your total score. You need to be clever about how you're maneuvering, you know, folks, but generally it's a pretty easy mission. You shouldn't have too much trouble with it, especially if you go with the same sort of advice as I've always been given throughout the missions, which is basically go for blues first, then go for greys, and get reds while you're on the way of the two, and you'll be easy peasy. It'll be done without much problem. What can I tell you, ladies and gentlemen? What can I tell you? Indeed. Yes. I kind of feel sorry for that guy. He's got pounded every single chance we've got in. But anyway, we have another also bit of a side quest that the game doesn't really do much to tell us about, ladies and gentlemen. Whenever you see panels like this with 4 screws in them, it's time to use your drill power to, simply put, to unscrew the floor panel off of the ceiling. And you're going to need to do this a couple of times to open up certain areas. For example, this will open up Mumbo's Mumbo Pad in the electromagnetic room we were in earlier on, which will actually be able to be used to disable the electromagnet itself, so we can actually use Wumba's transformation. And us stepping on that switch for the Mumbo Pad and whatnot as well, it's kind of interesting, because that's part of the quest to get to the boss fight, if I'm remembering correctly. And just to get to the boss fight in this level, you need to do a hell of a lot. I mean, you need to first find those panels and unscrew them all. Then you need to find Mumbo and sort of activate the sodding Mumbo pads. Then you need to go transform back to Banjo-Kazooie to then go to Wumba to then transform into your transformation. Then you need to go from your transformation to go to the place, step on the switch, then transform back, then you'll be able to enter the boss area. And it's a bit crazy, you know, ladies and gentlemen. It is one of the biggest complaints that I always hear about Grunty's Industries as a whole, and that's basically there's just a lot of effort to get anything done. I mean, once you get all of everything lined up to get completed, everything goes by quickly, but you know, getting things to that point is a bit of a pain in the arse. What can I tell you, ladies and gentlemen? What can I tell you, indeed? Yes. I'm actually surprised that my run through the stage went by so smoothly, because I usually get lost at least once or twice, but thankfully I can say I didn't really get lost that much, and the one moment I did get lost is completely out of the video. It's edited out, so you're welcome, I guess? Maybe? Also, you probably noticed as well, we're going to come across a hell of a lot more Minjos from this point on in the franchise. Well, not franchise, this point on in the, oh god damn it, I missed. In the level as well, like, every level from this point onwards is going to have a lot more Minjos to deal with, which, you know, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. It just means you need to be a little bit more on guard, if you will, whenever you're trying to capture Jinjos and whatnot, but, you know, it's still not much of a deal with. I mean, you have fire eggs, you have unlimited fire eggs if you're at this point of the game and you're playing it the same way I am, so, you know, just shoot fire eggs at every Jinjo you see, bada bing, bada boom, you'll never get hit. That's mainly what I'm getting at here. Hey. By the way, it's such a shame you don't stay outside in Grunty's Industries all that much, because, my favorite version of the Grunty's Industries theme song is actually the outdoors version with the brrrr, or, you know, the French trumpet or horn or whatever it is. It just sounds magnificent, and it's such a shame you don't get to hear it nearly that much, you know. Like, I was kind of hoping that they would sort of make it so the outside tune also played indoors, because we're indoors in Grunty's Industries so damn much, you know. I mean, I understand why it's not the same, because obviously the game likes to have its dynamic music, and the music fits every area we're in, which it does. The music does fit which area we're in. I mean, you go outside, but then you go inside and it's a really mellow version of the same tune because, you know, we're indoors. We're in a dank, deep, not obsolete, but we're in this dank, horrible place, you know, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, moving on up by here, there is a crusher. Joy to the world. For this crusher by here, we cannot deal with it just yet. We will need Mumbo Jumbo's help, and basically this is one of those weird instances with Mumbo Jumbo, because when we actually use Mumbo Jumbo to actually stop this crusher, it's actually a timed sequence. Like, the crusher will reactivate after a certain amount of seconds, and this also stays true for when Mumbo deals with the electromagnet as well. Basically, Mumbo he's very, what's the word I'm looking for here? His usefulness in this world is all basically relegated to timed stuff, you know. You need to use him to do something for a set amount of time, in which case you have a very small time limit to get past the sequence that he used his powers on, you know, ladies and gentlemen. So, you know, Mumbo's a little bit of a tricky bean to use in this world, what can I tell you? Now, you might be wondering where I'm going, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's quite simple. I'm now heading up to the roof of Grunty's Industries. There may be another way up to the roof, but I'm not entirely sure. I think this is the only... I think this is the only way up to the roof. Basically, we'll activate these flight pads that we activated earlier on via switch. And bada bing, bada boom. Now, whenever you're going across the outside of the building, you will want to scan around the outside. Around the outside. Because there's going to be windows littered about. Use your grenade eggs to shoot out the windows, and bada bing, bada boom, you'll be able to get entry into them to basically unveil more things. What can I tell you? What can I tell you? Indeed. Yes. But anyway, this floor panel that we're actually digging, no, we're not digging up, we're drilling up. I as you can probably guess, we won't be dealing with this for quite a bit. Because this basically, it doesn't really affect anything where Banjo and Kazooie can get to. But the transformation we'll get in this world is extremely, and I mean extremely, immobile. So you will want to do this for the transformation, because as you can tell, there is a guy who has very dirty clothing sitting there. Well, simply put, the transformation will be utilized in order to clean his dirty clothes. You can probably guess what the transformation is by the fact I said already it's metal and it cleans clothes. So, you know, I'm still not going to spoil it for the people who want to figure it out for themselves. But I will tell you, it is a marvelous, marvelous power-up that, honestly gave me the giggles when I first played through this game. A lot of people also realize that the power-up in this stage also technically showed up originally in Banjo-Kazooie 1, although it was never really used in that game, but again, I'm probably spoiling a bit too much here, what can I tell ya? But anyway, pop into this side, and bada bing bada boom, another Cheeto page is ours, hell yeah! Racking up those Cheeto pages. But anyway, now we are actually going to head on up to the roof of Grunty's Industries because, well, there's basically a couple of things that we basically want to do, and we can only access the roof from the outside, unfortunately. Like, I think maybe there's a way to enter the roof area from some other angle, but I'm not entirely sure. Every time I've gone up to the roof, it's always been from the outside flying up, so, you know, get your red feathers on the standby, yo, and when you get up here, you'll notice there's a couple of clear windows on, basically on the actual, what is this part of the roof called? The sort of triangular slopey bit of the roof, you know, folks, so, you know, shoot that open, bada bing, bada boom, you can gain access inside, and, there's basically two of these up here in the roof level, and we're not going to be able to do too much up here until we get the transformation, but, or, actually, yeah, we can't really do too much up here at all, really. There's only, like, maybe a few things to do, like, for example, this very sneakily hidden bloody, what is it? I don't know what those things are called, ventilation holders? But basically, yeah, we need to drill up this by here, which is very sneakily hidden, and it drives me mad that it's sneakily hidden. But, doing this will give us a second way up to the roof that we can access without flying, which is, you know, it's a handy thing. It's a handy thing, so you're going to want to go and activate that. Basically, in the crusher room, you'll notice there is a standalone platform with nothing on it. Well, now there's a way up to the roof, so, you know, if you want quick access to the roof, bada bing, bada boom, now we have it. What can I tell you, ladies and gentlemen? But that's basically all we're going to be doing with the roof for this part. We will be returning to it next part because there's a couple more things I want to really deal with up there. Because, like I said, there is a second room to enter, and, actually, now that I think about it, I want to go up there anyway, because there's, yeah, I was just thinking, I want to go up there as Kazooie, because there are places to go. I'm getting my brain frazzled, I'm getting bits that happen later in this part, earlier on. Like, we need to split up to Kazooie here to get hold of this Jiggy, for example, which is very easy Jiggy to miss, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So, okay, I was talking utter rubbish. And, by the way, ignore the Ginger is screaming right now. There's not much you can do about him. He's there. And I can't remember if he's a Ginger or a Minjo or not, but basically ignore him for the time being. But basically I wanted to go as Kazooie alone anyway, just because Kazooie alone has the higher jump. But we only really needed Banjo and Kazooie for that one instance, just because Banjo and Kazooie have the ability to do the drill, you know, ladies and gentlemen. Kazooie himself is probably more suited to just explore areas anyway, because he's quicker, he's nippier, and he can jump more, you know? He has more maneuverability to him than even with Banjo and Kazooie combined, but then again, I say that, but you can't really grab ledges or anything like that, so I don't know. Oh no, it was a standard Jinjo. Alright, okay, well, what do I know? I'm only a guy talking over video game footage for the internet. Hey. That's the only problem about doing these LPs after recording them months and months ago is, you know, I tend to forget details. What can I tell you? But, yeah, we basically want to get in here and get that ginger. I don't think there's anything else in this room. Yeah, I think that's basically it for that room. We won't be re-entering that room until we get the transformation. And you might be wondering, okay, you said the transformation is not very mobile at all. How are we going to get the transformation up here? Well, that's something I'm going to say for another time. What can I tell you? And yes, I did do that on purpose, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, jumping and suiciding is quite possibly the greatest speedrunning tactic in this game. Because bada bing, bada boom, we're now with Banjo and Kazooie. And, are we going back up to the roof again? I think we are. Okay. Okay. There is, I do know there is a collectible that we need to pick up as well inside one of the chimneys that are littered on the roof of Grunty's Industries, so we're probably going to go grab them right now. For example, I think one of them is a honeycomb piece? Maybe? Or was it a Cheeto page? Or both! I can't remember. Hoi. All I know is there's 2 collectibles out here that we're going to get hold of. Well, technically 1 collectible's inside, but we have to go through the chimney and do our Santa Claus thing in order to collect it. And, whoa, 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 go back, Banjo, go back. I'm missing, there's a sorting, there's a warp pad there, Banjo. Whatever, I'll pick it up eventually. So yeah, anyway, fly on right into this chimney sweep here. And we'll be entered into the boiler room of Grunty's Industries, and you can probably hear this guy screaming when we first enter this room. But yeah, he's up here, so bada bing, bada boom, he is now ours. Hail to the air. Unfortunately, we don't have a nice quick way to re-access the roof, which is why I'm an idiot, and I should have activated the sodding warp pad, but I digress. I digress, indeedio. But yeah, like I said, there is a second collectible to pick up as well on the roof outside. So, you know, we're going to go straight on back to that warp pad and fly on up. And this time I'm going to grab the sorting. There we go. Rule number 1. Never skip the warp pads because they are very useful. That's my own personal rule, and I ignored it because I'm a pleb. But there we go, there's a honeycomb piece. All for the taking. Fantastic. So, and that's basically all we got done of the roof for now, ladies and gentlemen. So now it's time to head on back to the crushing, well, not even the crushing sequence. We're going to Mumbo's skull now, because it's time to use Mumbo's powers on the crushing sequence, which is magical, shall I tell you. Well, it's not really magical. It's basically, this is probably the most sciencey Mumbo spell in the entire game, because, well, simply put, it's an EMP. Or EMP, for you people who don't know what an EMP is. And for you people who don't know what an EMP is, well, it's basically an electromagnetic pulse. Which essentially is a shockwave that disables electronics. That's basically what Mumbo's major ability is in this stage. Which is why you can probably assume his abilities are timed, because, you know, we're inside a full-blown working factory, which means if we disable any of the machinery, you know, it's going to be repaired after a certain amount of time, because, you know, you can't have production lines falling behind because a crusher doesn't work, you know, ladies and gentlemen. But that's generally what we're going to be using Mumbo for. We're basically going to send him to these points and activate his spells to disable the things, so we have more areas to progress and explore. What can I tell you? That's the wrong way. That is the wrong way. Past me, that is the wrong way. There you go. There you go. No, don't jump off. What are you doing? Why did I do that? Oi. It's very easy to back, you know, when you're doing these in post-commentary, it's very easy to look back at yourself and backseat game your own gameplay, because Jesus Christ. But anyway, there we go, we just used EMP on these wall crushers here to temporarily disable them. And once the wall crushers are disabled, we'll need to rush back, switch to Banjo and Kazooie, and then rush down to the other side. So, you know, you just need to be quick, basically, to get to the other side of this. It's easy enough to do, but you know, if you sort of move, you'll be able to reach this back in time. But if you sort of dawdle around and be like a dweeb, then you know, you're not gonna make it. So, you know, be quick, but you don't need to be too quick. That's mainly what I'm getting at here, ladies and gentlemen. Hoi. But, I digress. Let's switch back to Banjo-Kazooie, and there we go. You know, sometimes I really wish that when you entered Mumbo Skull as Mumbo, you automatically switched back to Banjo and Kazooie. I mean, it would make things a little bit more convenient. I mean, I understand why they don't do that in regards to the game itself, because, you know, they have hidden areas that are located inside Mumbo Skull at points, but, you know, either way, I digress. With that, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Wall Crusher disabled entirely, so we will never have to worry about that again. And, that is it for this part, so thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Don't be sheepish, people, and I'll catch you all next time as we finish off Grunty's Industries once and for all. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you after. Bye!